The race to a Bitcoin spot ETF is in full force, and it's only a matter of time until BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK Invest, or any other asset manager that has filed for a Bitcoin spot ETF finally gets approved. But the big question is, once it is finally approved, will it kickstart the next bull run? What's going on? My name is Chino. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about everything crypto. In today's video, I'm going to show you why the release of a Bitcoin spot ETF may not be the best thing for Bitcoin. Quick disclaimer, nothing in this video is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I highly encourage you doing your own research because no one hits that buy button except for you. Before we jump into the video, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you want to stay up to date with everything crypto, and if you only do one of those things at all, please hit that like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm and it helps me out tremendously. All right, let's dive into it. Here's a real quick backstory on what a Bitcoin spot ETF means for the market and why this is such a big deal, just so we can get a well-rounded picture for people and newcomers that may not know what we are talking about here. A Bitcoin spot ETF just means that companies like BlackRock and Fidelity and a bunch of other companies want to bring Bitcoin to the stock market. And what this does is it exposes Bitcoin to millions of people that are already invested in the stock market, and a lot of people will begin to trust investing in Bitcoin because it is now an ETF, an exchange traded fund on the stock market. Now, the first company to file for a Bitcoin spot ETF was BlackRock, which is the largest asset manager in the world, and I think they manage around $9 trillion in assets at this very moment. After BlackRock filed for their ETF, this became a domino effect, and ARK Invest, Fidelity, WisdomTree, and Invesco all followed BlackRock and filed for their own Bitcoin spot ETF within a week of each other. This all happened a couple months ago, but now we just got somewhat of an update from the Securities and Exchange Commission. The SEC delays the decision on a Bitcoin ETF from Cathie Wood's ARK Invest. Not only that, but they also are pushing back against Fidelity and BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETFs. Now back to the big question, if a Bitcoin spot ETF does get approved, will this kickstart the next bull run? And you have to think this is a legitimate question because, as I explained previously, a Bitcoin spot ETF will bring Bitcoin to the stock market, exposing it to millions of people, which means billions of dollars will flow into Bitcoin, therefore pumping the price. Theoretically, of course. And this is why I don't think that the release of a Bitcoin spot ETF will be good for Bitcoin. So many people don't know this, but there are already Bitcoin ETFs that are out on the market currently, and there are 11 of them, but they are Bitcoin futures ETFs. These are not Bitcoin spot ETFs. What's the difference between a spot and a futures ETF? Bitcoin futures linked ETFs offer more exposure to the asset without direct possession, while spot Bitcoin ETFs involve holding the actual asset within a fund. The very first Bitcoin futures ETF was BITO. The first US Bitcoin ETF, BITO, started trading on the 19th of October 2021. You know what else happened right around October 19th, 2021? Oh, nothing. October 19th, 2021, it was just the literal top of the market, which marked the end of the bull run before we came crashing down to $15,500 from $69,000. Probably nothing. And this is why I think the release of a Bitcoin spot ETF may also not be good for Bitcoin in the short term when it's released, but it all depends on when it is released. If it's released after Bitcoin pumped up to like 100K or something, then I would be cautious. But if it releases now when Bitcoin is down at $26,000, then yes, I would say it is possible that the release of a Bitcoin spot ETF could kickstart the next bull run. But looking at the timeline, the SEC is saying that they're pushing back on Fidelity and BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETFs. This article broke as well, saying that the SEC is going to delay all Bitcoin ETF decisions until 2024. Now, I haven't seen anywhere else where it is confirmed that the SEC said that all decisions are being pushed until 2024, but it is an interesting timeline. And it's interesting because also early 2024, is when the next halving event for Bitcoin is going to occur. And if we look at Bitcoin's history, the past 3 halving events, every time that a halving event occurred, a parabolic run followed for Bitcoin. And this is why the timing of all of this to me is very important, because if Bitcoin pumps all the way up to like $100,000 and it makes a new all-time high, and then the Bitcoin spot ETF releases to be traded on the actual stock market, then I will be looking for Bitcoin to tank. And I do not think that it will be good for Bitcoin, just based off of what we saw when the first Bitcoin futures ETF was launched and what that did to Bitcoin after it was near all-time highs. But if a Bitcoin spot ETF gets approved right around the time of the halving, where Bitcoin has not made a new all-time high, then I think yes, then it could kickstart the next bull run. But this is my argument for why I do not think that the release of a Bitcoin spot ETF will be good for Bitcoin in the short term. Long term is super bullish for Bitcoin, but in the short term, that at the time that it releases, it may not be good for Bitcoin. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. Do you think a Bitcoin spot ETF release is going to be good for Bitcoin, or is it going to be bad for Bitcoin in the short term and in the long term? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you found any value in this video, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you do any of those at all, if you do only one, hit that like button. It helps me out tremendously. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.